This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Welcome to Elder Geek's Elder Speak. Today is Friday, March 30th, 2012. I'm Randy Yasenchak, editor of ElderGeek.com. Today in the background, finally changing it up a little bit. Everybody was saying that they were getting a little tired of seeing PC footage, so just for some of our console fans out there, I'm actually going to be playing some Journey in the background, a game which I have not touched at the time of this recording, so if I look like I'm playing like a total noob, that's why. Today on the show with me, I have Michael, who is one of our streamers on our Twitch TV channel. Michael, welcome to the to our little show here.
Thanks for having me, Randy.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, favorite game genre, favorite game streaming, etc., etc.
All right. Well, yeah. So like Randy said, I basically live stream on our Twitch TV page. I guess favorite genre mainly would be like first-person shooters. What I like to play a lot, Call of Duty, Battlefield, things like that. Normally, if I'm live streaming, though, I try to stay away from the Call of Duty stuff because that kind of gets overdone on Twitch TV, and try to stream stuff like Mass Effect, Oblivion, Skyrim, you know, all the different games that kind of take longer to play all the way through, but people have a better, easier chance of getting into.
There's also probably a lot less chance of people calling you a noob and everything while you're playing. If you're not like rocking like a 12-0 kill to death ratio, then they probably won't watch you if you're doing COD or Battlefield.
Yeah, pretty much. If I'm not playing like Search and Destroy and like just, going like 30-0, then no one watches when you play Call of Duty.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, man, we actually have a lot of news to kind of cover because yesterday I took a day off from recording Elder Speak because yesterday was actually a game club day. There was a little bit of a snafu with that, so the video and the audio for that should be posted sometime over the weekend. But I kind of wanted to say thank you to all the people that actually had some nice comments on the show that I recorded on Wednesday. Everybody on the staff all sent me messages separately saying that they were all happy to see the responses that our users had about our approach towards video reviews. And we appreciate it. We're glad that you guys have our back in case we ever, end up in a bar fight and we have our subscribers there with us. We're good to go.
I sat down for my lunch the other day and I actually listened to the whole thing. And it was 100% exactly how I feel for what you were talking about. Just, I don't know, I guess the whole taking kickbacks for reviews is just, it's so not even natural, it's not fair, especially if, if the game deserves, like a 2 or a 3, and then a website turns around and gives it like an 8, it's not fair to the consumer, it's also really not fair to the developer at the same time.
Yeah. Oh well, but anyway, like I said, thanks to everybody who left the really nice comments. We will continue to push forward as steady as she goes, so to speak. But into the news, we got a lot to cover before the end of the before we start our weekend. A new one to the list, Michael. I didn't throw this one on the list that I sent to you before we started recording, but I got the press release this morning for Mount and Blade Warband expansion. Napoleonic Wars multiplayer DLC was announced today. And I'm going to read the press release. I'll read some of it word for word. Paradox Interactive and Tailwords Entertainment today announced the next DLC for Mount & Blade Warband. Napoleonic Wars is a multiplayer expansion pack that will take players back to the final years of the Napoleon Conquest, yada yada yada. Developed by Flying Squirrel Entertainment and Tailworlds Entertainment, Napoleonic Wars will support multiplayer battles of up to 250 soldiers and enable players the chance to create characters from 220 unique units, all hailing from 5 different European nations. And obviously it looks a lot better than Warband Vanilla. It actually looks a lot better than even the other expansion that they did, the standalone one that I'm with Fire and Sword. So anyway, for all of you Mount and Blade nuts out there like me, this is obviously kind of pretty cool news. I'll throw up a link to the announcement trailer that Paradox kind of released today, and you can check it out for yourself. You're not a Mount and Blade player, are you?
I actually have not had a chance to sit down and play it yet.
It's one of those games that when you first look at it, you're like, this is ugly as sin. Why would anybody enjoy it? But as soon as you put 15 minutes into it, you're like, so I want to cancel work tomorrow and do nothing but play this.
Nice.
Sleep?
Yeah,
Who needs sleep?
Yeah, whenever I see you stream it on the Twitch, or whenever I've actually either seen like screenshots, it's one of those games that when you first look at it, you're like, yeah, this could use a graphical update. But then when I kind of watch, I'm like, okay, this actually looks like it'd be a lot of fun getting into building a whole army and then having epic battles.
Yeah, and especially since the multiplayer is 250 people. I mean, come on, that's got to get crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see that they're really supporting the multiplayer stuff. I know there's quite a few different people that have different mods for the multiplayer, and they just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Like they had the the brigade one where it's all guns and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, so that one looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got a pretty solid modding community. So there are going to be people that are going to say, why are you going to buy this when there's already, I can't remember the name of the mod, but when there's already this awesome mod out right now that everybody plays. I don't know. I'll probably be buying it and playing it because I like the developer and I want to see more of those kind of games.
Definitely.
So that's that. Moving on, we actually reported on this a little bit earlier in the week, and it was actually when Steve was on the show, but EA has made the Final Four on the Consumerist's worst company in America. So we were talking about it before. They were up against Comcast, and apparently EA beat out Comcast for being a worse company.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you guys were talking earlier about how you guys really only have Comcast out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me, like I have a few different decisions. I've got Comcast, we have Cox and stuff, and so, for me it was an easy choice, EA, without a doubt.
Really? See, in a lot of places, they actually have them defined by region, so that Comcast will have one territory and Cox will have the other, and there's no spillover where like you have a choice of a provider.
Oh yeah. Where I live, I have the ability to have Comcast, Cox, or AT&T Uverse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Consider yourself lucky. Most of America, it's not like that.
Yeah. Well, now with the next lineup now is what, EA and AT&T.
It's EA versus AT&T,
yeah,
which.
So now I actually have a decision to make here.
Which
one I'm gonna go for.
I would go with AT&T.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think EA, like, what they do to their games, I think sucks. But as far as like a company, I think that the damage that Comcast and that AT&T has done to the American life, I think, is way more than what EA could have and has ever done.
Yeah. If you look at it from a bigger picture, definitely.
Walmart, out of all of these, I would think that Walmart's got to be the worst one.
I have a feeling it's going to end up being Walmart, and either between AT&T or EA.
Yeah.
Walmart's going to win against Bank of America.
Walmart needs to sweep this thing. And everybody always asks, well, what's so bad about Walmart? Well, Walmart, anyway, I don't want to go into like this whole big thing, but it's not hard to find like how Walmart has screwed up the United States. So
yeah.
Do some Googlings.
Exactly.
I'll throw up a link for the Final Four bracket. You guys can all vote in it and everything like that. So enjoy. Coming up next, InXile is going to be collaborating with Obsidian and Avalon specific. I guess that's how you pronounce his name, Avalon. Chris Avalon.
Avalon, I think.
From Obsidian with Wasteland 2, but there's a catch. They need to raise $2.1 million on their Kickstarter campaign for that to kind of happen. Now, that's kind of like big news. That's good news, but there's two ways to kind of look at that. There's a way to look at it where you're like, wow, this is fantastic. Wasteland 2 is not only going to happen, but it's going to be this fantastic and badass game. But at the same time, it's like, Obsidian? Come on, does Obsidian really need to be doing Kickstarters? I realize that they had some cutbacks and everything like that this year, but they're a legitimate developer. They're not like an indie developer kind of thing.
So, this is almost like a perfect pair. With them saying they need 2.1 million, they're close. What are they? Last time I checked, they're at 1.7 million on the Kickstarter.
Something like that. Really close. At the time of this recording, they're at 1.7 million.
Yeah. I guess the only thing would be, it's a little bit weary in how they say, oh, we need more money, but it's understandable, more people, a better staff. But is that only they need more money because we're putting the Obsidian name on the game?
Maybe. I'm not sure. They didn't really go into too much detail about it. I'm personally seeing this as a little bit of muddy in the water a little bit. I'm excited for the game and I want Obsidian to work on it and I want InXile to kind of collaborate with them. But at the same time, it's like this is getting in the realm where it's a little bit too big for Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I would like to see more smaller independent developers kind of use this better. I'm afraid that this is kind of overshadowing some other cooler games that might be on the way.
Yeah.
But that's that. 2.1 million. They'll probably raise it. They have.
Oh yeah, they have 17 days still.
Yeah, they'll probably raise it. But so if you're interested in the project, you know, there's still time. We'll throw up a link for you guys. Check it out. Toss them some money. I don't know, but if you're like me and you're like, meh, Kickstarter's not meant for that, then I don't know. Let us hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, definitely. Kickstarter is definitely made for smaller development teams.
Yeah. I guess at this point it's more like people are using it as almost like a political statement against the larger publishers.
Yeah. I mean, the first people to do it, Telltale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Was it Telltale?
It was not Telltale. It was
not Telltale. Double Fine.
Yeah.
Not getting the companies mixed up here. Yeah, Double Fine. I mean, they were the first ones to do it, and they skyrocketed it, and they took it to a whole new level. And I think everyone's just kind of almost jumping on that bandwagon with them.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to be like, oh, look, we're a smaller development team, kind of known, but we want more money to make awesome games.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see if they're actually just doing it as, like you said, a political standpoint, or they really are, struggling with money to get their games made. The ones that they actually want to make.
No, the other kind of benefit to it is with Double Fine doing it, you know, there are people who look at the Double Fine situation that way as well, where they think to themselves, you guys are a little bit too big to be using Kickstarter. At least through that campaign, a lot of people became aware of what Kickstarter was, and they're able to find other companies that will need development funds.
Yeah.
So pluses and minuses for the whole thing. But anyway, that's that. InXile collaboration with potentially Obsidian, who is kind of one of my favorite game companies out there, but they've been known to goof up a lot. Anyway, Square Enix kind of semi-announced today, or at least it was discovered today, that they're working on a new in-browser game called Crystal Conquest. We'll throw up a link for the website for that, but it's looking to be an in-browser game, kind of like an RTS strategy type of game, where their goal is going to be 20 versus 20 player matches, where people are going to be able to summon monsters and attack the opposing team. And it also seems as though it's going to be using a card-like system for building decks to play the game as well. If you speak Japanese, I believe there's an alpha that you can sign up for. Otherwise, if you speak English only, you're probably going to be a little bit out of luck. But Crystal Conquest, a lot of people were kind of hoping that this was going to be Final Fantasy Tactics 2. I personally would have loved a Final Fantasy Tactics 2, but...
Yeah, unfortunately, I never had a chance to play the Tactics one.
Really?
Yeah.
There was a sequel to Tactics that appeared on the GBA, but it didn't have the same vibe as the original, and it just did not scratch the itch for me. So I've been kind of hoping for a good, true sequel to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The when I saw that it was from Square Enix, I was kind of hoping that they would show it at PAX, but I looked back at the press release for the PAX ones. Looks like that one will not be on there.
I'm actually kind of curious if they will ever translate this into an English-based game. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know. This seems like the type of game that would actually do better in the Japanese market as opposed to the U.S. market. Who knows? I think people are hungry for more Square games that aren't Final Fantasy.
Definitely. I mean, I've only played, I think, 3 or 4 Final Fantasies all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess maybe just because I haven't really got all the way into all the stories of them, they're more or less the same game. I mean, different characters, different stories like that, but it's more or less the same game. So something new from Square Enix would be...
there's a ton of talent that works there, and I think they need to stop milking the Final Fantasy name, because they're kind of weakening its potency. So for them to work on new IPs would be good. But with the name Crystal Conquest, that seems like it's tying itself into the Final Fantasy realm. I don't know. Realm. Yeah, it's probably
universe.
The best. Yeah, or universe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they even use the same font that they use for Crystal Chronicles on the logo for Crystal Conquest.
Yeah. Yep.
So
there you have it. Final Fantasy / Square fans, get amped up and see if you can go get yourself into the alpha. Team 17 has announced a new Worms game called Worms Revolution. They are in development with it right now, and supposedly they're working with an entirely new engine for it. Worms is one of those games that I fall in and out of love with. I don't know about you, but I mean, I really, really loved it when it first came out, and then I kind of fell out of love with it, and then it was kind of fun to pick up some multiplayer matches like a year or two ago, but I don't know where I am on them right now.
About the same. When it first came out, it was totally awesome, and then as they just kind of create like new, different variations of it, they did like a 3D one, and that I kind of turned my head on that. And then about a year or so ago, I picked it up on the Xbox Live Arcade, and just absolutely fell in love with it again.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. They definitely have a solid fan base for Worms games, you know.
Yeah.
And so Worms fans have Worms Revolution to kind of look forward to.
Yeah, plus the trailer actually looks like it's going back to that more classic style Worms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Worms news. This is actually the final one for the day. And considering how many stories we actually kind of cranked out today, I'm pleased with how quickly we did it.
Yeah.
Kotaku actually did an interview today with Drexel University, and they found out that basically your old Xbox 360s, whether or not you've restored it to factory default settings, will still hold your credit card information on there. So for the love of God, if you're going to be turning... Well, number one, I would honestly suggest not selling your old Xbox 360s or giving them away or trying to sell them online or anything like that. But if they do, they actually recommend to remove your hard drive and physically wipe the disk using special software as opposed to just a standard reformat of the hard drive. So there's that. There's a lot of people kind of holding pitchforks and torches outside of Microsoft right now because of it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this almost kind of falls in the same situation when Sony got hacked and all those credit card info got out. I guess for me, the only thing is I've traded my Xboxes and I've sold them before, but I've never put my credit card on them. I always just go to the store, buy
a card.
Buy my 12-month, buy my 1,600 points. I've always just dealt everything that way. And if I do use my credit card, I normally only use it through the website, and I never attach it to my gamer card. Yeah.
That's a smart way to do it. And I'm gonna say this like outright. I don't think it's wise to ever sell or trade or anything like that. Anything that has a physical hard drive that might have held any personal information on it. You know. I understand that you might want to recycle and everything like that, which is great, and I totally recommend that. But if you can, always physically remove the hard drive from your laptop or your PS3 or your 360 or whatever it is that you might be throwing away or recycling or trading in, and literally physically destroy that hard drive. That gives no chance for any information being pulled off of it. I don't think there is some software out there that erases the data better than others, but there's no foolproof way.
Yeah, I mean, you can go in and erase it and delete it, but there's always layers and layers that you'll never be able to see and get to.
Yep. And it's not hard to physically destroy hard drives. I mean, just a gentle tap with your hammer will shatter that disk if it's a physical hard drive. If it's a solid state one, you're kind of. It's a little bit harder that way.
Harder.
But that's honestly what I always do. Like for our old laptops and for me and my wife, I always pull out the old hard drive before we recycle the screen and the keyboard and crap like that. Always.
Definitely. We have a nice heavy magnet across it a few times as well.
I don't even know if that works anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if that works anymore. Somebody told me that it didn't work anymore, and I believed it. So who knows? Who knows?
Oh, okay.
I know that a good old ball peen hammer solves most of all my problems.
Always. Violence is the best course of action in this case.
Exactly.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Microsoft deals with this as well. I mean, this kind of falls in the same problem they've had with the website. When you attach your credit card to your gamer tag, and then you go to remove your credit card, it always gives you some kind of error or, we can't do it through this method, you've got to call us. They've always kind of had a hassle of getting your credit card off of your gamer tag information.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, that I don't know. Between this and the whole, there's that whole rumor mill kind of flying around right now about people wanting to attach not only just credit cards but the actual games that you purchase to your gamer tag on future consoles, so you can't sell used copies, kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know. Microsoft and Sony have a lot of backtracking to kind of go through right now.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know this kind of thing. Is it possible for them to change the way that you restore your 360 to a factory, default setting? Is there like a physical way that they can change that programming so that it will wipe the hard drive cleaner, or is that just completely out of the window and pretty much the 360 is doomed to this fate for the rest of its life cycle?
I mean, I would think they might be able to put out like a firmware patch. But I mean, other than that, I don't know what they could do for people that already have their Xbox. Now, building future Xboxes, I guess they could put in some kind of fail-proof for it. I don't know what it would be, though. You know, it'd be hard to say. It's kind of one of those things. I mean, even in like when you buy a desktop computer, you go through the same thing. You know, they haven't figured that out yet for desktops, so there might not be a way yet.
Yeah, I mean, you know what else in this kind of same vein is, number one, I would not recommend selling your used 360 or anything like that. Maybe if you had a family member that you wanted to give it to that you knew where its final fate is going to be, I guess that's fine. But one, I would never sell it to a retailer. But two, I don't think I would ever buy a used 360 at all, because a lot of them, I mean, I know that a lot of those are bricked or almost bricked 360s because of either failed mods or just, you know, abused 360s. Just buying a used 360 just sounds like a bad idea to me.
Yeah, working in retail for video games, I've seen a lot of Xboxes come in that I'm like, this is like totally almost broken, and you got it to work for like the 5 seconds I'm gonna test it. It happens all the time.
Ouch.
And I've seen a lot of Xboxes that we've sold that have come back within a day, 2 days, and like it red ringed.
What is the... Two questions, I guess. How much if you were to take a used 360 to like a GameStop or another retailer out there, what would they give you for a used 360?
The average, you would normally, if you're talking the original model 360s, which surprisingly they don't trade in the hard drives with, they take those separate.
Huh.
Yeah, so I mean, if you are going to trade your Xbox with this whole deal, don't trade in the hard drive, I guess.
Yeah.
You'd still be okay. But normally on average you'd get barely less than 100. Probably 80 or 90 at the most.
That's actually more than I thought that store would give. I actually figured they would give you like $40. Considering how badly they goof you over on games. It
changes daily. Yeah, it changes daily. And that's like 80 or 90 is normally when they have like a trade, like some kind of like, oh, you get an extra $50 or something. But I mean, on average, I mean, if you're talking, you just go in, they have no trade deals, at the most probably like 60, 70.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, still, I guess if you're gonna sell it, you're probably better off just selling it without a hard drive and then saying like, hey, give me whatever you can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're desperate for getting what you need.
Yeah. Hey, look at that! I learned something new today.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody.
You know, surprisingly, the DSs and like the handhelds trade in for a lot more than the full systems normally.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
I would totally buy a used DS. You know, if I have kids, and you know, I know that the kids are going to be beating up the DSs because, I mean, come on, let's be honest. A lot of people really beat up their DSs because it is a portable device. Yeah. If I know that I'm going to be harsh on my DS, I will buy a used one because I know what kind of punishment I'm going to put it through.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's going... When I bought my DS, I think, pre-owned, and it goes with me everywhere. The plane, school, in my car.
Yeah, it's going to go into your pocket. It's going to go into your work bag. It's going to go everywhere with you, and you're not going to be gentle with it every time you place it in there. So, knowing its harsh future, I could totally see buying a used one of those.
Without a doubt.
Cool beans. All right, everybody, that's it for the week. Happy Friday. You all made it. If anybody has any questions or any comments that you would like for us to cover on the show, please send us an email anytime at info@elder-geek.com. For myself and Michael. Well, by the way, Michael, thanks for coming on the show, man. What are you streaming this week to kind of give everybody a little taste as to what they could possibly check out?
Well, I will probably be finishing up Mass Effect 3 hopefully this week. I guess we're going into next week. Yeah, finishing Mass Effect 3. I want to finish it before we leave for PAX. That way I have it out of my mind, and I know that way if I am at PAX and people start talking about it, I don't have to worry about getting it spoiled for myself. So I want to finish that before PAX, and then I actually picked up Fable 3, so I might try that a little too.
Really? Fable 3? Well,
yeah.
Get ready to be a little disappointed with that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
I gave that one a worth trying. I mean, it's not terrible. It's a functional game, but it's not nearly as good as what Fable 2 was.
Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't. I guess it's a little bit okay, so I didn't pick it up for full price. So.
Yeah, that's fine. As I was saying, Send any info or any emails to info@elder-geek.com, and I will be seeing you on Monday. Take care.